I crashed into the weird alpha prince at the golf course. He keeps showing up everywhere I go. Chapter 1. There's a specific sound a skull makes when you hit it with a golf ball at 70 miles per hour. Catherine Cabot will remember that sound for the rest of her life. It's not the clean thwack you hear on ESPN. Not the satisfying crack of a perfect drive sailing down the fairway. This is different. Deeper. The kind of wet, bone-shaking thunk that tells you something terrible has just happened, and there's absolutely no taking it back. The world doesn't explode into chaos immediately. That would almost be merciful. Instead, time does this sick, twisted thing where it slows down just enough for Catherine to register every horrifying detail in crystal-clear, high definition. The tall blonde stranger. Expensive polo shirt, designer sunglasses, the kind of posture that screams old money and country club memberships, doesn't even have time to turn around. The titliced pro, V1 catches him right at the temple. His head snaps sideways with the impact. The sunglasses fly off in a graceful arc, catching the morning light like some kind of sick special effect. And then he goes down. Just crumples. Knees buckling, body folding in on itself, collapsing onto the perfectly manicured grass of the 9th fairway at Belmont Ridge Country Club like someone cut his strings. For exactly 3 seconds, Catherine can't breathe, can't move, can't process what just happened. The 9-iron is still raised above her head in the world's most pathetic follow-through. Her borrowed golf shoes. 2 sizes too big, borrowed from the caddy locker because her boss Gerald didn't give her enough warning to prepare for this nightmare. Feel like concrete blocks. The Tuesday morning sun is too bright, too cheerful, too completely wrong for the fact that she just potentially killed a man on a golf course in Charleston, South Carolina. 3 seconds of pure, crystalline horror. Then Gerald starts screaming. Oh my God, Miss Cabot, what have you done? Gerald. Her boss at Morrison Marketing, the man who dragooned her into this disaster at 6:30 this morning because the regular caddy called in sick and Catherine was the only one available, is red-faced, sweating through his polo shirt, looking like he's about to have a coronary himself. You just assaulted a member. His voice cracks on the last word, high and panicked. Do you have any idea who that is? Catherine doesn't. She's a waitress at Rosie's Diner on King Street. She serves hash browns and mediocre coffee to hungover college students and tourists who don't know any better. She shares a 500-square-foot studio apartment with 2 roommates and a 13-year-old beagle named Taco, who has arthritis and gas problems. The closest she's ever gotten to Belmont Ridge Country Club is driving past it on her way to her second job stage managing community theater productions that pay in exposure and stale donuts. She has no idea who this man is. But she's about to find out. Because the stranger, the man she just brained with a golf ball, the man who should be unconscious or worse, sits up. Just sits up. Like getting knocked out by sporting equipment is a minor inconvenience. A Thursday morning annoyance. Blood trickles down his temple in a thin, dark line, stark against pale skin and platinum blonde hair that probably costs more to maintain than Catherine's monthly rent. He raises one hand to his head, touches the wound with long, elegant fingers, then examines the blood with what looks like mild curiosity. And then he looks at her. The impact of those eyes, ice blue, impossibly bright, sharp as broken glass, hits Catherine harder than that golf ball hit him. Her stomach does this weird flip-drop thing, like she's just crested the peak of a roller coaster and gravity's about to have its way with her. There's something wrong about those eyes. Something that makes the hair on her arms stand straight up, makes her hindbrain start shrieking warnings her conscious mind doesn't understand yet. Not wrong like dangerous. Wrong like other. Like she's looking at something that's wearing a human face, but isn't quite human underneath. When he speaks, his voice is low, cultured, with an accent she can't quite place. British? European? Something that sounds like old libraries and older money. Do you always greet people with ballistic weaponry, or am I special? Catherine's brain completely flatlines. Because that's not what you're supposed to say when someone just gave you a potentially fatal head injury. You're supposed to scream, threaten to sue, pass out. Call the police. Literally anything except make a joke that's actually kind of funny despite the circumstances. Her voice comes out strangled, barely recognizable. The golf club falls from her nerveless fingers, landing in the grass with a soft thud. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. There wasn't supposed to be anyone on this part of the course, and I've never played golf in my entire life, and Gerald just threw these clubs at me this morning, and I don't even know how to hold them properly. Clearly. The stranger stands with the kind of fluid grace that shouldn't be possible for someone who just took a head wound. He's tall. Really tall. 6'4" at least, with a kind of build that suggests either excellent genetics or a personal trainer who costs more per hour than Catherine makes in a week. He doesn't sway. Doesn't stumble. Just rises to his full height like he's performing for an invisible audience, brushing grass off his perfectly pressed khakis with one hand while still holding the other to his bleeding temple. And he's smiling? Not a full smile. Just this ghost of amusement playing at the corners of his mouth, like he's in on some cosmic joke Catherine hasn't figured out yet. I thought the course was empty, Catherine manages, backing up a step. Then another. Her heel catches on something, a divot, a root, her own clumsy feet, and she windmills her arms, barely catching her balance. The starter said, Gerald said we had the back 9 to ourselves. You did. I wasn't supposed to be here. He tilts his head, studying her with an intensity that makes her want to squirm. Or run. Or maybe both. Changed my tea time at the last minute. Impulse decision. Now I'm wondering if the universe was trying to tell me something. Gerald has found his voice again, though it's pitched about 3 octaves higher than normal. Mr. Stapleton, I cannot apologize enough. This is unconscionable. Completely unacceptable. Miss Cabot is a temporary fill-in. She has no business. Stapleton? Catherine interrupts, the name triggering something in the back of her memory. Wait. Are you Nicholas Stapleton? He extends his hand like they're at a networking event, not standing on a golf course where she just assaulted him. Blood is still trickling down his face, getting into his eyebrow, but he doesn't seem to care. And you're clearly not a professional caddy. I'm a waitress. The words come out defensive, sharp. And a stage manager. And sometimes I walk dogs for extra cash. I've never caddied in my life. Gerald called me at 6 this morning and said it was an emergency and he'd pay me $200 if I... She stops, realizing she's rambling. I'm Catherine. Cut. And I'm really, truly sorry about your head. Catherine. He says her name slowly, deliberately, like he's testing how it feels in his mouth. His eyes haven't left her face. Haven't even blinked. Well, Catherine, who isn't a professional caddy, I seem to have a head injury. Hospital protocol requires someone drive me to get examined. His gaze drops briefly to her oversized golf shoes, then back up. You're driving. What? No. I can't. You should call someone. An ambulance. Your wife. Girlfriend? Personal physician. I'm calling you. There's something absolutely final in his tone. You put me in the hospital, you're taking me there. That seems fair. Gerald is making wounded noises in the background, something about liability and insurance and the club's reputation, but Nicholas, Mr. Stapleton, whoever he is, waves him off with the casual authority of someone used to being obeyed. Gerald, is it? Tell the clubhouse I've had a minor accident. Nothing to worry about. And take the rest of the day off. You look like you're about to have a stroke. 20 minutes later, Catherine is piloting her ancient Honda Civic. A 2009 model with a check engine light that's been on for 6 months, a dent in the passenger door from a grocery cart incident, and a permanent ode to French fries and wet dog toward Charleston Regional Medical Center. Nicholas Stapleton, who definitely has private helicopters and probably a personal medical team, is folded into her passenger seat, long legs cramped, expensive shoes resting on a floor mat covered in tacos shedding fur. He hasn't complained once. In fact, he seems almost entertained. Catherine grips the steering wheel so hard her knuckles go white, hyper-aware of every rattle in the engine, every worn patch in the upholstery, The way the air conditioning only works on the left side and makes a weird whistling noise when she goes over 40. So, Nicholas says into the silence, and Catherine nearly swerves into the other lane. Tell me about the beagle. What? The dog hair. Either you have the world's largest golden retriever, or there's a beagle involved. I'm guessing beagle based on the distinctive aroma. Catherine's face goes nuclear.
Taco.
His name is Taco. He's 13 and he has digestive issues, and I'm sorry my car doesn't meet your standards, but it's what I've got, and I wasn't criticizing. His voice is gentle now, missing that edge of amusement. I like dogs, especially old ones with digestive issues. They have character. She risks a glance at him. He's watching her again with that same unsettling intensity, pressing a Starbucks napkin she'd found in the glove box against his still bleeding temple. In the close confines of the car, she can smell him, something expensive and clean, cologne that probably has a French name, but underneath that's something else. Something wild and sharp that makes her think of forests and snow and things that hunt in the dark. Stop it, her brain hisses. He's a rich guy. A country club member. Probably has a trust fund and a vacation house and zero interest in a broke waitress who just gave him a concussion. But her body isn't listening to her brain. Her body is doing weird things. Heart racing.
Palms sweating.
Stomach fluttering like she swallowed live butterflies. For what it's worth, Nicholas says quietly as they pull into the ER parking lot, "This is the most interesting Tuesday morning I've had in years." Catherine parks crookedly across two spaces, hands shaking as she kills the engine. You have a very strange definition of interesting. Perhaps. He opens the door, unfolding from the Civic with that same impossible grace. Then he leans back down, ducking his head to look at her through the open door. Catherine, who works at Rosie's Diner and stage manages and walks dogs named Taco. I'll see you again. It's not a question. It's a statement. A promise. Maybe even a threat. And as he walks into the ER, leaving Catherine sitting in her horrible car trying to remember how breathing works, she has the strangest, most bone-deep certainty that her life just changed forever. She just doesn't know how much. Not yet. 3 days pass. 3 days where Catherine obsessively checks local news for lawsuits or assault charges. 3 days where she calls Charleston Regional 17 times to make sure Nicholas Stapleton is okay, was released, isn't dying of a brain bleed. 3 days where she tells herself she's being ridiculous, that she'll never see him again, that men like that don't remember women like her. Then Thursday morning rolls around again. 6 a.m. The breakfast rush at Rosie's Diner. Catherine is on autopilot, taking orders, pouring coffee, pretending she cares whether table 4 wants wheat or white toast, when the bell above the door chimes. She doesn't look up. Doesn't need to. Because the entire diner goes quiet. That kind of charged silence that happens when something extraordinary walks into somewhere extremely ordinary. Catherine turns, coffee pot in hand, and her heart just stops. Nicholas Stapleton stands in the doorway, wearing dark jeans, a cashmere coat that probably costs more than her annual rent, and an expression of absolute determination. No country club polish now. No golf course propriety. Just raw, focused intensity aimed directly at her. He crosses the diner in 6 long strides, slides onto a stool at her counter, and says, "Black coffee, please." Like this is normal. Like he belongs here. "You're stalking me." Catherine's voice comes out too high, too breathless. Her hands are shaking so badly the coffee pot rattles against the ceramic mug. "This is stalking. I could call the police." "You could." Nicholas doesn't look away. Doesn't blink. "But you won't." "Why not?" "Because you're curious." He leans forward slightly, and that's when she sees it again, that flash in his eyes when the fluorescent lighting hits them just right. Not blue. Gold. Molten and utterly inhuman. "Because you feel it too. Whatever this is between us. You've felt it since the golf course." Catherine's mouth goes dry. Because he's right. God help her, he's completely right.
"The ER cleared you," she manages.
"I called. Multiple times. You're fine." "Physically, yes." His smile is sharp, knowing, dangerous. But there might be other complications. Long-term effects. I thought it prudent to check in on you. Make sure there are no additional incidents. I'm not going to hit you with any more golf balls. Pity. It was quite memorable. He takes a sip of the terrible diner coffee, the kind that tastes like burnt rubber and broken dreams, without flinching. I'll have the pancakes. Extra butter. Sal, the 70-year-old cook who once threatened a customer with a spatula for complaining about his eggs, pokes his head through the kitchen window. Kat, you want me to throw this guy out? He's making the other customers nervous. Catherine looks around.
He's right.
The regulars are staring. Old Mrs. Chun with her Tuesday morning oatmeal, the construction crew from the site down the street, even Jerry the perpetually drunk poet who camps out in the corner booth. Everyone's staring at the beautiful, expensive man who absolutely does not belong in Rosie's diner. It's fine, Sal. The words come out automatically. He's a friend. Nicholas's smile goes nuclear. And Catherine realizes with dawning horror and exhilaration that her life will never, ever be normal again. Whatever Nicholas Stapleton is, whatever he wants, it's already too late to run. The hook is set. And Catherine is about to discover just how deep the water goes. I stayed up until 4 a.m. editing this video just so I could share this unhinged Prince story with you, and now I'm sitting here refreshing the comments like a sad little gremlin waiting for someone, anyone, to tell me their most chaotic royal obsession. If you don't comment right now, I'm literally going to think I imagine this entire friendship we have, and I'll never emotionally recover. Don't break my heart like this. Please. I beg you. One comment. Save me. Chapter 2. The thing about obsession is that it doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It creeps in. Quiet. Persistent. Like water finding cracks in concrete, working its way deeper until the whole foundation starts to shift. Catherine tells herself it's coincidence. Has to be coincidence. Because the alternative, that Nicholas Stapleton, heir to whatever empire the Stapleton family controls, is actively pursuing her, a broke waitress who owns exactly 3 pairs of jeans and rotates them throughout the week, is insane. Except coincidence doesn't explain Tuesday. Tuesday, he stays at Rosie's diner for 3 hours. 3 full hours. Orders pancakes at 6:15 a.m. Sits at the counter nursing terrible coffee that should have dissolved his esophagus by now, and works on a sleek laptop that probably costs more than Catherine's entire life savings. She tries to ignore him. Tries to focus on her other customers. Mrs. Chun, who wants her oatmeal at exactly 170 degrees, the construction crew that tips in singles and loose change, Jerry the poet who pays for his coffee in haikus that don't even rhyme properly. But she can feel Nicholas watching her. Every time she moves. Every time she laughs at one of Sal's terrible jokes through the kitchen window. Every time she refills coffee or wipes down tables or does any of the 1,000 small tasks that make up her morning shift. His gaze is physical, tangible, like fingers trailing down her spine. Your boyfriend's still here, Sal mutters around 7:30, flipping hash browns with practiced aggression. Been staring at you for an hour and a half. It's creeping out the regulars. He's not my boyfriend. Catherine doesn't look at Nicholas. Can't. If she looks at him, she'll see those ice blue eyes that sometimes flash gold, and her brain will short-circuit again. He's just, I don't know what he is. Trouble, Sal says flatly. That's what he is. Rich boy trouble. You want me to throw him out? You can't throw out paying customers. Watch me. But Catherine stops him with a hand on his arm. Because despite everything, despite the strangeness and intensity and the way Nicholas makes her feel like the world is tilting sideways, she doesn't want him gone. That's the problem. She should want him gone. Should be terrified. Should have blocked him, called the police, told her roommates to screen all visitors and install better locks. Instead, she keeps finding excuses to walk past his section, refilling coffee he hasn't touched, asking if he needs anything else when he clearly doesn't, catching his eye, and then looking away like a teenager with her first crush. It's pathetic. She knows it's pathetic. When Nicholas finally leaves around 9:30, laptop packed, coffee long cold, tip that's probably double what Catherine makes in a full shift. He pauses at the door, turns back, catches her watching him, smiles. Not the polite society smile. Something darker, more knowing, like he can see straight through her protests and denial to the truth underneath. Catherine's face burns. She busies herself wiping down a table that's already clean, scrubbing at invisible stains until her hands ache. He'll be back, Sal predicts. Men like that always come back. He's right. Wednesday morning, Catherine takes Taco for his pre-work walk at the dog park on Broad Street. It's early, 5:45 a.m., dawn just starting to paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. The park is mostly empty except for the usual suspects. Elderly Mr. Patterson with his yappy terrier, the serious runner who does laps with her border collie, a handful of other bleary-eyed dog owners who'd rather be in bed. Taco is doing his arthritic waddle shuffle toward his favorite tree, the one he's been peeing on for 13 years, when Catherine sees him. Nicholas Stapleton, standing near the water fountain, wearing athletic gear that looks like it came from a magazine spread, and holding a leash attached to the biggest dog Catherine has ever seen in her entire life. It's not a dog.
Can't be a dog.
Dogs don't move like that, all coiled muscle and predatory grace black. Fur that seems to absorb light rather than reflect it. The thing is massive. Easily 140 pounds of pure, lean power. And it's staring directly at her with eyes that are definitely, unmistakably gold. You've got to be kidding me. The words come out strangled. Nicholas turns, and his face lights up like he's genuinely delighted to see her. Like this wasn't planned. Like he hasn't been stalking her across Charleston for 3 days straight. Catherine. What a coincidence. Coincidence. She doesn't move. Taco, sensing her tension, sits on her foot and wheezes. You just happen to be at my dog park at 5:45 in the morning. I live nearby. He says it smoothly, easily, and maybe it's even true. The Stapleton family supposedly owns half the historic district. Fenrir needed exercise. Fenrir. Catherine stares at the creature that is definitely not a Norwegian elk-hound mix. You named your direwolf after the giant wolf from Norse mythology that eats the world during Ragnarok. He's friendly. He looks like he wants to eat my soul. Only a little bit. Nicholas moves closer, and Fenrir moves with him, synchronized, fluid, unsettling in its perfection. He won't hurt your dog. Or you. He's very well trained. As if to prove the point, Fenrir sits. Just drops into a perfect sit position without Nicholas saying a word, massive head tilted, studying Catherine with an intelligence that makes her skin prickle. Taco, bless his ancient, gas-filled heart, is completely unbothered. He waddles forward, sniffs Fenrir's front paw with the casual disinterest of a geriatric who's seen everything, then promptly sits down and demands belly rubs from Nicholas. The betrayal is profound. Traitor, Catherine hisses at her dog. Nicholas laughs. A real laugh, warm and surprised, and crouches down to obligingly scratch Taco's belly. The sight of this impossibly elegant man in expensive athletic where giving attention to her arthritic, flatulent beagle does something weird to Catherine's chest. Something warm and dangerous. He's perfect, Nicholas says, and he sounds like he means it. How old? 13. He's got arthritis and digestive issues, and he snores like a freight train, and I love him more than most people I know. As you should. Nicholas looks up at her, still crouched beside Taco, and his expression is so open, so genuine, that Catherine forgets to breathe. The best things are usually a little broken. The moment stretches. Catherine should say something. Should demand to know why he's really here, what he wants, why he won't leave her alone. Instead, she hears herself say, "Does he do tricks?" Fenrir. Nicholas stands, brushing dog hair off his hands. A few. Wanna see? What follows is the strangest 20 minutes of Catherine's life. Nicholas puts Fenrir through a series of commands: sit, stay, heel, come, without saying a single word out loud. Just hand gestures. And the massive wolf dog obeys instantly, moving with that same eerie precision. How are you doing that? Catherine demands. Is it a clicker? Are you using a dog whistle I can't hear? Trade's secret. Nicholas's smile is mysterious, infuriating. Maybe I'll tell you someday. Someday implies we're going to keep seeing each other. Aren't we? It's not really a question. More like a statement of inevitable fact. Catherine opens her mouth to argue, to tell him this is weird, that he needs to stop showing up everywhere she goes, that she's not interested in whatever game he's playing. But the words won't come, because she is interested. Desperately, terrifyingly interested. Thursday night is when things escalate from strange to completely unhinged. Catherine has stage manager duty at the historic Charleston Theater for the community production of Guys and Dolls. It's a disaster on every conceivable level. The lead forgot his lines. The lighting cues are a mess. Someone's costume caught fire during the opening number. Minor fire, easily extinguished, but still. And the director, a 60-year-old former Broadway chorus member named Delia, is having a breakdown in the green room about artistic vision and the death of real theater. Catherine is in the lighting booth, 3 floors up, trying to explain to a well-meaning but technically incompetent volunteer named Brad why Spotlight 3 cannot, under any circumstances, be pointed at the fire exit during the finale. But it would be dramatic, Brad insists. It would be a code violation, and also blind anyone trying to leave. Art requires sacrifice. Brad, I swear to God. Movement in the theater below catches her eye. The house lights are dim, rehearsal prep, only a handful of people scattered in the seats. Mostly cast members, significant others, required attendance, looking bored out of their minds. Except for the man in the front row. Center seat. Sitting with perfect posture, complete attention focused on the stage where absolutely nothing interesting is happening. Nicholas Stapleton. Catherine's heart stops, restarts, then tries to climb out of her throat. I have to go, she tells Brad. Doesn't wait for a response. Just races down 3 flights of stairs, through the backstage area, past confused cast members, until she bursts into the theater proper. Nicholas sees her coming. Stands. Meets her halfway down the aisle like he knew she'd chase him. You're insane. Catherine's voice echoes in the mostly empty space. This is Nicholas. This is stalking. Actual, literal stalking. I could call the police. Is it stalking if I bought a ticket? He's so calm. Too calm. Like showing up at her workplace for the 3rd time in 3 days is perfectly normal behavior. It's a rehearsal. Her voice cracks on the last word. We're not selling tickets. This isn't open to the public. How did you even know I'd be here? You mentioned it. Tuesday. At the diner. You said you had stage manager duty on Thursday nights. Catherine tries to remember the conversation. Can't. Was probably sleep-deprived and caffeinated and not paying attention to what information she was giving this beautiful, impossible man who's systematically infiltrating her entire life. So you what? Decided to just show up? I made a donation to the theater's operating fund. Nicholas says it like it's nothing. They were very accommodating about letting me observe rehearsal. A donation. Catherine's brain is melting. How much? Does it matter? Yes. It matters. You can't just throw money at things to get what you want. Can I? He steps closer. They're standing in the middle of the aisle now, stage lights casting strange shadows, the smell of old theater and sawdust and theatrical makeup thick in the air. Catherine, I'm trying to understand you. The things you care about. The places you go. The life you've built. Is that so terrible? Yes, her brain screams. Yes, because it's too much, too fast, too intense. But her mouth says, you sat through 2 hours of the worst theater production in Charleston's history just to what? Understand me? It wasn't that bad. Someone's pants fell off during the opening number. That was clearly intentional. Artistic choice. It wasn't. Then it should have been. Would have improved the scene immensely. His lips quirk in that almost smile that makes Catherine's stomach flip. You're good at this. Stage managing. I watched you coordinate 3 crises simultaneously without breaking a sweat. I was sweating. Profusely. You made it look effortless.
He's closer now.
Close enough that Catherine has to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Close enough that she can see the gold flecks that shouldn't exist, the way his pupils dilate when he looks at her, the fact that he smells like expensive cologne and something wild underneath. Catherine, I'm going to be honest with you. Oh, now you're going to be honest? I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since you knocked me unconscious. The words come out raw, urgent, like they've been building pressure for days. I know that sounds unhinged. I know I'm being. He stops, jaw clenching, like he's fighting himself. I'm trying to give you space.
Trying to be normal about this.
But I can't. I look at you, and everything else just stops. Fades away. And I need you to tell me if I'm imagining this connection, or if you feel it too. Catherine's mouth is desert dry. Her heart is doing Olympic-level gymnastics in her chest. Feel what?
This.
Nicholas reaches out slowly, telegraphing the movement, giving her every opportunity to step back. His fingers find the side of her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone with devastating gentleness. Every time I'm near you, your pulse races. Right here. His thumb moves to her throat, rests against the frantic beat. Your pupils dilate. Your breathing changes. And you smell. He stops himself, something dark and hungry flashing across his face. Smell like what? Catherine whispers. Like your mine. The word detonates between them. Mine. Possessive. Primal. Completely insane. I don't even know you, Catherine says, but it's the weakest protest in history. Because she does know him. Somehow, impossibly, she knows him in ways that have nothing to do with facts or time or logic. She knows the way he takes his coffee. Knows he's left-handed. Knows he has a scar on his right hand between thumb and forefinger that he touches when he's thinking. Knows he listens more than he talks and watches everything with predatory focus and moves like violence contained in expensive clothes. Knows him like she's always known him. Like she was waiting her whole life for him to show up and ruin everything. Nicholas's hand is still on her throat, feeling her pulse, and his eyes have gone dark. Pupils blown, that gold edge starting to bleed through. Then let me fix that. His voice has gone rough, low, barely above a growl.
Dinner.
Tomorrow night. Somewhere public, so you know I'm not going to murder you and wear your skin. That's exactly what someone planning to murder me would say. Husk. King Street. 7 p.m. His thumb strokes once along her jawline, featherlight, and Catherine's entire nervous system lights up. If you don't show, I'll understand. I'll disappear. Leave you alone. Go back to my normal, boring life and try to forget the woman who gave me a concussion and made me feel alive for the first time in a decade. That's manipulative. It's honest. He drops his hand, steps back, and the loss of contact feels like amputation. But Catherine, his eyes flash pure gold, just for a heartbeat, and every hair on Catherine's body stands up. I really, really hope you show. Then he's gone, walking up the aisle, through the lobby doors, disappearing into the Charleston night like he was never there at all. Catherine stands frozen in the middle of the theater, hand pressed to her throat where she can still feel the ghost of his touch, heart thundering so loud she's surprised it doesn't echo off the walls. Behind her, someone clears their throat. Brad, the lighting volunteer, looking concerned. Cat, you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Catherine laughs, high, slightly unhinged. Not a ghost. Something worse. Worse than a ghost. She thinks about Nicholas's eyes bleeding gold. The way Fenrir moved like liquid shadow. The certainty in his voice when he said mine like it was already decided, already written, already inevitable. Yeah, she whispers. So much worse. That night, Catherine lies in her narrow twin bed in the apartment she shares with Priya and Zoe, staring at the ceiling, trying to talk herself out of going to dinner. Nicholas Stapleton is trouble. Capital T trouble. The kind of trouble that comes with consequences and complications and probably a tearful breakup story she'll still be processing in therapy 10 years from now. She should not go to dinner. Should block his number if she had it. Should tell Sal to ban him from Rosie's. Should change her dog-walking route and quit the theater and maybe move to a different city entirely. Should do all of those things. At 6:45 p.m. on Friday, Catherine stands in front of her closet wearing her only nice dress, navy blue Target special, 3 years old, worn to every wedding and funeral she's attended, and realizes she made her decision 3 days ago on a golf course. Maybe even before that. Maybe the moment Nicholas sat up with blood on his temple and smiled at her like she was the answer to a question he didn't know he'd been asking. She's going to dinner. Going to hear whatever he has to say. Going to walk straight into the disaster with her eyes wide open. Taco watches from his bed in the corner, wheezing judgment. "Don't look at me like that," Catherine tells him. "You liked him. You're the one who demanded belly rubs from a complete stranger." Taco farts in response. Fair point. If you're feeling that same, I need to know what happens next panic that Catherine is feeling right now, you need to hit that subscribe button immediately. Because what Nicholas is about to reveal at that dinner, it's going to flip Catherine's entire world upside down. And if you're not subscribed, YouTube might not show you again. Don't be that person who misses the twist. Subscribe now. It's free. It takes 2 seconds, and your future self will thank you when the next episode drops. And hey, if you're one of those rebels who refuses to subscribe, drop a comment and tell me why. Tell me what country you're watching from. Let's see how international this story goes. Chapter 3. Catherine Cabot arrives at Husk at 6:58 p.m., which means she's spent the last 40 minutes circling the block in her ancient Civic, giving herself increasingly desperate pep talks. It's just dinner. People have dinner all the time. Normal, regular dinner with normal, regular people who are definitely not werewolves because werewolves don't exist and you're losing your mind. Except Nicholas Stapleton is waiting outside the restaurant, and one look at him confirms that Catherine has, in fact, completely lost her mind. He's wearing a suit. Not a casual blazer and jeans situation. A full 3-piece suit in charcoal gray that fits him like it was constructed by Italian tailors who take measurements in millimeters and charge by the stitch. His hair is swept back, still damp from a recent shower, and he's holding a single white rose that looks like it cost more than Catherine's dress, shoes, and purse combined. When he sees her approaching, self-conscious in her Target special, trying not to trip in heels she only wears twice a year, his entire face transforms. Relief. Pure, overwhelming relief floods his features like he genuinely wasn't sure she'd show up. "You came," he says, and his voice cracks slightly on the second word. Catherine stops 3 feet away, clutching her tiny purse like it's a shield. "I'm here for the she-crab soup. I heard it's incredible." "It is." Nicholas closes the distance, offers the rose with a slight bow that should look ridiculous, but somehow doesn't. "And for the record, you look beautiful." "I look like I raided a clearance rack in 2022. "You look like you." His eyes, currently blue, no gold in sight, are so warm it makes her chest ache. Which is all I wanted. He offers his arm like they've time-traveled back to 1850, and Catherine takes it because apparently her body has decided to betray every self-preservation instinct she's ever had. His forearm is solid muscle under expensive fabric, radiating heat that seeps through her thin dress and makes her skin prickle. The hostess takes one look at them and smiles like she's in on some cosmic joke. "Mr. Stapleton, your table is ready." Of course, he has a reservation. Probably made it 3 days ago, before Catherine even agreed to come, because men like Nicholas Stapleton plan for every contingency. The table is perfect. Corner spot, candlelit, private without being isolated. The kind of table you can't get without either connections or money or both. Catherine sits, smooths her dress, and tries not to hyperventilate. Dinner starts normal. Suspiciously normal. Nicholas asks about her life. Not surface-level small talk, but real questions. Where did she grow up? Richmond, Virginia, middle-class suburb, nothing special. What made her want to work in theater? High school drama teacher, who believed in her when no one else did. Why Charleston? Followed a boyfriend who turned out to be trash, stayed for the city itself. He listens like every word matters. Like she's reciting Shakespeare instead of rambling about her mediocre life. And when she mentions her roommates, Priya the perpetually stressed med student, Zoe the aspiring novelist who works 3 jobs, and Taco the beagle who has more personality than most humans, Nicholas laughs. A real laugh, unguarded and genuine. Taco is the alpha of your household, isn't he? Completely. We all serve at his pleasure. Catherine finds herself relaxing, the knot in her shoulders loosening. What about you? What was it like growing up Stapleton? Something shudders in Nicholas's expression. Not closed off, exactly. More like careful. Complicated, he says after a moment. My father is traditional, old school. There are expectations when you're born into an alpha bloodline. Rules. Protocols. Not a lot of room for being a normal kid. Were you close? Growing up. My sister and I, yes. Vivian is. His face softens. She's the best person I know. Brilliant, funny, refuses to take anything seriously, including herself. She's at Stanford studying business and pack law, but really she's just trying to figure out how to modernize traditions that are centuries out of date. And your parents? My mother is formidable in the way Southern women are formidable. All manners and propriety, with a spine of pure steel. My father. Nicholas pauses, choosing words. He loves the pack more than he loves anything else, including his children. It's not personal. It's just how alphas are built. The waiter arrives with appetizers Catherine doesn't remember ordering. Oysters, shrimp, something that looks like art on a plate. Nicholas must have pre-selected the menu, which should be controlling but somehow feels thoughtful instead. They eat. They talk. Nicholas tells self-deprecating stories about boarding school disasters and college mishaps that make him seem less like an untouchable aristocrat and more like a real person who's made mistakes and survived them. Catherine tells him about her theater kid college dreams, how she wanted to be a director, went to school for it, graduated with $50,000 in student debt and 0 job prospects. How she moved to Charleston planning to stay 6 months, and somehow it's been 4 years. How she still dreams about opening a tiny black box theater for local artists, but can't imagine ever having enough money to make it real. You will, Nicholas says with such certainty it makes her breath catch. You'll make it happen. I've seen you stage manage a production that was actively falling apart. If you can coordinate that chaos, you can do anything. You're insane. That production is a disaster. It's ambitious. There's a difference. He reaches across the table, fingers brushing hers. You care about things. Really care. Most people don't anymore. They're too afraid of looking uncool or trying too hard. But you, his thumb traces circles on her knuckles. You throw yourself into everything like it matters. Like you matter. Catherine's throat tightens. Nicholas. I know. I'm coming on too strong. I can't seem to help it around you. He pulls his hand back, leaving cold air where warmth had been. Tell me to slow down, and I will. But Catherine doesn't want him to slow down. That's the terrifying part. She wants him to keep touching her, keep looking at her like she's the only person in the room, keep making her feel like maybe she's not just a broke waitress treading water, but someone worth pursuing. Dessert arrives. Bourbon pecan pie that tastes like liquid gold, and Nicholas gets quiet. Not uncomfortable quiet. Anticipatory quiet. Like he's gearing up for something. Finally, he sets down his fork and meets her eyes. I need to tell you something. And you're either going to think I'm insane, or you're going to run. Possibly both. Catherine's stomach drops. Here it comes. The catch. The thing that's too good to be true. She sets down her own fork, bracing. You're married.
What? No.
Engaged. Catherine, no. Secret kids? Criminal record? Witness protection. The words tumble out faster. Are you in the mob? Is this a mob thing? Because I've seen The Godfather, and I do not have the emotional bandwidth for mob drama. I'm a werewolf. The restaurant doesn't go silent. The other diners keep eating, keep talking, completely oblivious to the fact that Catherine's entire reality just shattered into 1,000 pieces. She blinks.
Once. Twice.
Tries to process the words that just came out of Nicholas's mouth. I'm sorry, she says carefully. I think I misheard you. Did you just say you're a werewolf? Yes. Like a wolf. A werewolf. A person who turns into a wolf. Shapeshifter. Lycanthrope if you want the technical term. Nicholas's voice is steady, calm, like he's discussing the weather instead of claiming to be a mythological creature. My family, the Stapleton bloodline, we're the alpha line of the East Coast pack. We've been here since before Charleston existed. Since before it was Charlestown, when this was still unclaimed territory. Catherine stands up. The chair scrapes loud against the floor. Several nearby diners glance over. She sits back down, stands up again. Nicholas watches her have a minor breakdown with infinite patience. This is a prank, Catherine manages. Her voice sounds distant, disconnected. Reality show. There are cameras somewhere. Where are the cameras? No cameras. You're lying. This is some kind of weird rich person game. You're messing with me because you're bored and I'm entertainment. Catherine. He says her name like a prayer. Like an anchor. Look at me. Really look. She does.
Can't help it.
And what she sees in his face isn't amusement or deception. It's raw, painful honesty. Vulnerability that looks like it costs him something to show. 3 nights ago, Nicholas continues, voice low and urgent. When that golf ball hit me, something happened. Something I didn't expect and can't control. It's called a mate bond. He stops, searching for words. It's incredibly rare. Maybe 1 in 10,000 wolves ever experiences it in their lifetime. It's not something you choose or plan for. It just happens. And when it does, there's no going back. Mate bond. Catherine's brain is static and white noise. You're saying what? That I'm your werewolf soulmate because I accidentally assaulted you. Essentially, yes. She laughs. Can't help it. Hi, slightly hysterical sound that makes the couple at the next table look over with concern. That's insane. That's actually insane. You're insane. I'm insane for still sitting here. I know how it sounds.
Do you? Do you really?
Because from where I'm sitting, it sounds like you've been watching too much Twilight and decided to commit to a very elaborate, very weird bit. Prove it. The words come out before Catherine can stop them. If you're really a werewolf, prove it.
Right now. Shift.
Grow claws. Do the eye thing I keep seeing. Something. Nicholas glances around the restaurant. It's nearly empty now, late dinner crowd, mostly couples finishing dessert and lingering over coffee. The staff is giving them privacy, probably assuming they're having an intimate conversation. If they only knew. Look at me, Nicholas says quietly, reaching across the table to take her hand.
His skin is fever hot.
Catherine noticed it before, the unnatural warmth, but dismissed it. Now it makes horrible, impossible sense. She looks and watches his eyes bleed from ice blue to molten gold in the space of a heartbeat. The pupils elongate, narrow, distinctly not human. His canines sharpen. Not dramatically, not movie monster transformation, just enough to be visible, to be undeniable. The air around him shimmers, thick with power that makes Catherine's hindbrain scream warnings her conscious mind is still trying to process. Predator, something ancient whispers in her skull. Apex predator.
Run.
But another voice, just as primal, just as insistent. Mate.
Yours. Stay.
Oh my God. Catherine's voice is barely a whisper. Oh my God. This is real. This is actually real. Nicholas's eyes fade back to human blue, the transformation so smooth it's like watching water change color. I'm sorry. I know I've just destroyed your entire understanding of reality. But you deserve the truth before this goes any further. Any further. Catherine's laugh sounds broken. Nicholas, you've been stalking me for 3 days. We're already pretty far. I've been fighting myself for 3 days. His grip on her hand tightens. The bond, it's not just attraction. It's not even just love, though God knows I'm already halfway there. It's biological imperative. Every instinct I have is screaming at me to claim you, mark you, protect you from everything including yourself. To never let you out of my sight. It's why I keep showing up everywhere. I'm literally at war with my own biology trying to give you space. Catherine's head is spinning. Your family, are they? All wolves, yes. My father is the Alpha Prime of the East Coast Territories. My mother is from the Thornhill Pack, Boston bloodline. Very old, very powerful. Vivian is training to take over West Coast operations. We have pack members in every major city from Maine to Florida. West Coast operations. You're talking about werewolves like it's corporate structure. Because it is. Nicholas releases her hand, leans back, and for the first time looks uncertain. We own businesses, properties, security firms. Anywhere we need pack members integrated into human society. It's how we've survived hidden for thousands of years. We adapt. We blend in. We look human enough that no one questions us. But you're not human.
No.
I'm not. He holds her gaze unflinching. And that's what you need to understand, Catherine. If we pursue this bond, if you choose me, you're not choosing a normal life. You're choosing to enter a world with its own rules, its own dangers, its own politics. A world where you'll always be the human among wolves. Where there will be people, wolves, who resent you for existing. For being my mate when they think I should choose from pack bloodlines. The restaurant suddenly feels too small, too warm. Catherine's dress is sticking to her back, her pulse pounding in her ears. I need air, she whispers. Nicholas stands immediately, leaves cash on the table, probably too much, Catherine's brain notes distantly, and guides her outside with a hand at the small of her back. They walk in silence down King Street, through the historic district, until they reach White Point Garden at the Battery. The Charleston harbor spreads before them, dark water reflecting city lights, the night wind carrying salt, and the distant sound of waves. Catherine sits on a bench, overlooking the water. Nicholas sits beside her, careful to leave space between them. So when you said I smell like I'm yours, Catherine says after a long moment, voice steadier than she feels, you meant that literally.
Yes.
Wolves identify mates by scent. It's... Nicholas stops, seems to struggle with how to explain. It's the first thing that hits you. Before you even see them, you smell them, and it's like nothing else in the world. Yours is lavender and thunderstorms and something I don't have words for. It's everywhere now. My apartment. My car. My clothes. I wake up at 3 a.m. smelling you, and my wolf is convinced you're in the next room, even though I know you're not. That sounds horrible. It's torture. He says it simply, factually. Beautiful torture. Catherine turns to face him. And if I say no, if I walk away right now and tell you to leave me alone. Nicholas goes very, very still. When he speaks, his voice is carefully controlled. Empty. Then I spend the rest of my life knowing exactly what I lost. The bond doesn't break, Catherine. It doesn't fade. It just aches. Every day. Forever. Some wolves who lose their mates go feral. Others just exist. Walking through decades feeling like they're missing a limb that will never grow back. That's not fair. Anger flares hot in her chest. You're telling me that if I don't choose you, you'll suffer forever? That's emotional manipulation. It's the truth. Nicholas turns to her, and his eyes are devastated. I won't lie to make this easier. But Catherine, listen to me. I won't force this. I won't manipulate or coerce or guilt you into anything. If you want me to disappear, I will. I'll transfer to Seattle, take over the West Coast territories, and you'll never see me again. The choice is yours. It has to be yours. Catherine stares at him. This impossible man who's claiming to be an impossible thing, offering her an impossible choice. Walk away and go back to her normal life. Pretend this never happened. That werewolves don't exist, and mate bonds aren't real, and Nicholas Stapleton was just a beautiful hallucination brought on by too much stress and bad diner coffee. Or step forward into the unknown. Into a world that shouldn't exist but somehow does. Into a love that's already written in biology and fate, and something deeper than choice. I want to know everything, she hears herself say. About your world.
The pack.
The rules. What being your mate actually means. I'm not going into this blind, Nicholas. If I'm choosing you, if I'm choosing this, I need to understand what I'm choosing. The smile that breaks across Nicholas's face could power the entire eastern seaboard. Relief and joy and something fiercer, more possessive. Deal, he says, voice rough with emotion. I'll teach you everything. Answer every question. Introduce you to the pack slowly, carefully. Whatever you need to feel safe. I don't feel safe. Catherine laughs shakily. I feel terrified. And insane. And like I'm about to make either the best or worst decision of my entire life. For what it's worth, Nicholas says, reaching out to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear with devastating gentleness. I think you're the bravest person I've ever met. I hit you with a golf ball, and now I'm agreeing to date a werewolf. That's not bravery. That's a complete psychological break. Maybe. His thumb traces the line of her jaw. Or maybe it's exactly what was supposed to happen. Catherine leans into his touch, lets herself feel the warmth of his hand, the solidness of him beside her, and thinks, I'm either about to have the greatest love story ever told, or I'm going to end up as a cautionary tale on a true crime podcast. Either way, it's too late to turn back now. The hook is set. The bond is sealed. And Catherine Cabot's normal life just became extraordinary. Chapter 4. The next 3 weeks reshape Catherine's understanding of reality so completely that her old life starts to feel like a dream she once had and half forgotten. Nicholas keeps his promise. He introduces her to his world in careful increments, like someone teaching a person to swim by starting in the shallow end. Except the shallow end includes casual revelations about supernatural creatures that have lived alongside humanity for thousands of years, and the deep end involves politics complex enough to make Game of Thrones look like a children's book. Week 1, he takes her to the Stapleton family estate on Kiowa Island. The property is exactly what Catherine expected, and nothing like she imagined simultaneously. Sprawling doesn't begin to cover it. The main house is antebellum architecture taken to its logical extreme, white columns, wraparound porches, floor-to-ceiling windows that reflect the morning sun like sheets of gold. Spanish moss strips from oak trees that were already ancient when the Revolutionary War was fought. The landscaping alone probably costs more annually than Catherine will earn in her lifetime. But it's the people, the wolves, that steal her breath. They're everywhere. Dozens of them scattered across the grounds. Some in human form, moving with that distinctive predatory grace Catherine has learned to recognize. Others in wolf form, massive creatures that shouldn't exist outside of prehistoric eras, lounging in the shade or racing through the trees with impossible speed. They're all pack, Nicholas explains as they walk a cobblestone path toward the main house. His hand is warm in hers, grounding her when everything else feels like vertigo. Cousins, distant relatives, bonded families. About 200 wolves in the Charleston territory alone. This is the heart of East Coast pack operations. Catherine watches a group of teenagers, maybe 15, 16 years old, play what looks like capture the flag if capture the flag involved superhuman speed, impossible vertical leaps, and what might be actual combat moves. One girl shifts mid-run, human to wolf in a heartbeat, clothes shredding, and Catherine's brain just stops. That's normal. Her voice comes out strangled. The shifting thing? Just casual afternoon activity. For adolescents learning control, yes. They need to practice the transition until it's second nature. Most wolves can shift in under 3 seconds by the time they're 20. Nicholas notices her expression, squeezes her hand gently. I know it's a lot. We can leave whenever you want.
No.
Catherine squares her shoulders, ignoring the way her pulse is hammering against her ribs. I said I wanted to understand your world. Can't do that from a safe distance. The pride in Nicholas's eyes makes her stomach flutter. They enter the main house through a side door that opens into a kitchen bigger than Catherine's entire apartment. Granite countertops, commercial-grade appliances, herbs growing in artisan pots on the windowsill. And everywhere, the smell of cooking. Bread baking, something savory on the stove, coffee strong enough to wake the dead. Pack members eat communally, Nicholas explains. Wolves have faster metabolisms. We need more calories, more protein. Dinner here can serve 50 people on a quiet night. 100 plus during pack gatherings. A woman emerges from what Catherine assumes is a pantry, mid-50s, silver streaking through dark hair, wearing an apron covered in flour. She takes one look at Catherine, and her entire face lights up. You must be Catherine. Oh, honey, come here. She pulls Catherine into a hug that smells like cinnamon and warmth and home, and for a moment Catherine forgets to be terrified. I'm Lorraine, head of house staff, which is a fancy way of saying I keep this chaotic family from starving or killing each other. She releases Catherine, holds her at arm's length, studies her with keen dark eyes. You're even prettier than Nicholas said. And he wouldn't shut up about you for 2 solid weeks. Lorraine. Nicholas's ears are actually red. Don't you Lorraine me, boy. I changed your diapers. I'm allowed to embarrass you. She winks at Catherine. You need anything, and I mean anything, you come find me. Don't let the fancy bloodline nonsense intimidate you. They're all just wolves trying to figure out how to be people. It's the first moment Catherine feels like maybe, possibly, she might survive this. Then Vivian Stapleton explodes into the kitchen like a blonde hurricane. Nicholas's sister is 22, Stanford educated, and has the kind of energy that makes Catherine feel tired just looking at her. Ice blue eyes identical to Nicholas's, but where his are usually serious, measured, hers are sparking with mischief and intelligence in equal measure. She takes one look at Catherine and shrieks, actual high-pitched shriek. Oh, thank God. You're normal. Viv, volume. Nick, shut up, this is important. Vivian grabs Catherine's hands, squeezes like they're old friends. I was so worried. So worried. After Genevieve, you remember Genevieve, right? The pack princess from the Hartford line who spent an entire dinner explaining her pedigree like she was a show dog? I thought Nick was going to mate bond with someone like that, and I'd have to pretend to like her for the next 300 years. 300. Catherine's brain stalls out. Wait, how long do wolves live? Long time. Vivian waves a hand dismissively. We'll get to that later. Right now, I need to know everything about you. What's your stance on karaoke? Do you believe pineapple belongs on pizza? Most importantly, she leans in conspiratorially. Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob? Catherine laughs before she can stop herself. Team Jacob. Obviously. Yes. Vivian pumps her fist. She's perfect. I'm keeping her. Nick, I'm stealing your mate. You can visit on weekends. You're not stealing my mate. Watch me. Vivian links arms with Catherine. Come on, I'll give you the real tour. Not Nick's boring version where he explains pack hierarchy and territorial boundaries. I'll show you the fun stuff. And before Nicholas can protest, Catherine is being dragged through the estate by a werewolf who talks a mile a minute and makes her feel, for the first time since this insanity started, like maybe she's not completely out of her depth. The fun stuff, as Vivian calls it, includes a state-of-the-art gym that looks like it could train Olympic athletes, where wolves practice combat in both human and wolf form. Catherine watches 2 massive wolves spar, all teeth and claws and controlled violence, and realizes with creeping horror that this is Nicholas's world. This is what he is when he's not being gentle with her. A library that spans 3 floors, filled with books Catherine has never heard of. Pack histories, genealogies, treaties written in languages that predate modern English. Vivian pulls one down, leather-bound, pages yellowed with age, and shows Catherine an entry from 1847 detailing a territorial dispute in Virginia that was apparently settled by ritual combat. We're not savages, Vivian says, misreading Catherine's expression. But we're not human either. Different rules apply. You'll learn them. The gardens, where Eleanor Stapleton is arranging hydrangeas with the focused precision of a surgeon. Nicholas's mother is terrifying in ways that have nothing to do with teeth or claws. She's all Southern grace and perfect manners wrapped around a core of absolute steel. Blonde hair swept into an elegant twist, pearls at her throat, a dress that probably costs what Catherine makes in 6 months. When Vivian introduces them, Eleanor doesn't smile. Just sets down her pruning shears and studies Catherine with eyes that miss nothing. So you're the girl. Not a question. A statement. Possibly an accusation. Catherine's spine straight. Ends automatically. Years of dealing with difficult theater directors have taught her not to flinch under scrutiny. Catherine Cabot, ma'am. It's nice to meet you. Is it? Eleanor's head tilts slightly, a distinctly wolf-like gesture. My son tells me you're his mate, that he's decided to pursue this connection. Vivian makes a noise like she's been punched. Mom. Vivian, this doesn't concern you. The hell it doesn't. Catherine is. Mother. Nicholas appears in the doorway, and the temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. His voice is pleasant, calm, and absolutely glacial. We're leaving. Nicholas, I'm simply trying to understand. I know exactly what you're trying to do. He crosses to Catherine, takes her hand. His fingers are warm, steady, grounding. And it's not going to work. Eleanor's expression doesn't change. Still pleasant. Still perfectly composed. But something sharp glints in her eyes. Catherine, dear. Do you understand what being mated to an alpha entails? The scrutiny? The politics? The expectations that come with joining one of the oldest bloodlines in North America. Mom, stop. There are wolves who can trace their lineage back 15 generations. Eleanor continues like Nicholas hasn't spoken. Families with histories written in blood and sacrifice. And you're human, Catherine finishes. Her voice is steady despite the way her heart is trying to climb out of her chest. I know. Believe me, I'm very aware. I was going to say unprepared, but yes, human as well. Eleanor picks up her pruning shears again, turns back to her flowers. Dismissal clear, in every line of her body. Nicholas, the council meets Thursday. Your father expects you. He can expect whatever he wants. Nicholas's hand tightens on Catherine's. We're leaving. Now. The drive back to Charleston is silent. Tense. Catherine can feel rage rolling off Nicholas in waves. Not at her, never at her, but at the situation, at his mother's calculated cruelty, at a world that looks at them and sees problem instead of possibility. He pulls over on a lonely stretch of road near the Ravenel Bridge, the massive cable-stayed bridge that spans the Cooper River, all white towers and geometric precision against the Carolina sky. Kills the engine. Sits there gripping the steering wheel so hard Catherine hears something crack. Probably the leather. Your mother hates me, she says into the silence. She doesn't hate you. She's terrified. Nicholas's voice is raw, scraped empty. Of change. Of losing control. Of me choosing something outside the careful plan she and my father mapped out before I was born. She's not wrong, though. Catherine forces the words out. Nicholas, I'm a broke waitress who stage manages terrible theater productions and lives with 2 roommates and a geriatric dog. Your mother probably has a retirement portfolio older than me. And that's before we even factor in the werewolf politics and bloodline drama and... Stop. Nicholas turns to her, and his eyes are blazing gold. Full wolf, barely contained. Just stop. I don't care about bloodlines. I don't care about pack politics or council approval or what my mother thinks is appropriate. I care about you. But the woman who apologized 17 times for an accident that wasn't her fault. Who tips 30% even when service is terrible because she knows what it's like to work for minimum wage. Who saves every stray dog she sees and cries during community theater because she cares so much it hurts. His hands frame her face, thumbs brushing her cheekbones. You're not just my mate, Catherine. You're the first person in my entire life who makes me feel like I can breathe. Like I'm allowed to be something other than the perfect alpha heir. Like I matter beyond what I can do for the pack. Catherine's eyes burn. That's a lot of pressure. It's the truth. He leans closer, forehead touching hers. I love you. I know it's too soon. I know it's too much. I know I should give you more time to adjust, to understand what you're getting into. But I love you so completely, it terrifies me. The words detonate in Catherine's chest. She should be scared. Should be pulling away, protecting herself from inevitable heartbreak when this supernatural fairy tale comes crashing down. Instead, she closes the distance and kisses him. Nicholas makes a sound, broken, desperate, and hauls her closer. The console is in the way, the angle is awkward, but neither of them care. Catherine tangles her fingers in his hair, tugs, and Nicholas groans against her mouth like she's killing him in the best possible way. When they finally break apart, breathing hard, pupils blown, Catherine's lips swollen and Nicholas's eyes pure molten gold, he rests his forehead against hers and whispers, I love you. Catherine's heart cracks open. I'm falling for you. So fast it scares me. Good terrifying or bad terrifying? She laughs breathlessly. Both. Definitely both. Nicholas pulls her back into his arms, and they sit there on the side of the road while traffic rushes past on the bridge, holding each other like the world might end if they let go. Maybe it will. Maybe Eleanor is right. Maybe the pack elders will never accept her. Maybe this ends in heartbreak and disaster, and Catherine becomes a cautionary tale whispered among wolves for generations. But right now, wrapped in Nicholas's arms, breathing in his scent of cedar and wild things, feeling his heartbeat sync with hers. Right now, Catherine chooses terrifying and beautiful over safe and empty, and prays it's enough. Chapter 5. Everything changes with a phone call Catherine almost doesn't answer. It's Tuesday, lunch rush at Rosie's diner, and Catherine is drowning in orders. Table 4 wants their eggs over medium, not over easy. Table 6 is complaining about coffee temperature, and Jerry the poet is trying to pay for his pancakes with a sonnet he wrote on a napkin. Her phone buzzes in her apron pocket. Unknown number. Charleston area code. She almost lets it go to voicemail. Almost. But something, instinct, paranoia, the same primal warning system that's been screaming at her since she entered Nicholas's world, makes her duck into the kitchen, away from customer noise.
Hello.
Miss Cabot? The voice is male, cultured, with a kind of accent that suggests Ivy League education and country club memberships. This is Reginald Blackwood. I represent the Stapleton family's legal and business interests. I'd like to meet with you to discuss a matter of some urgency. Today, if possible. Catherine's blood turns to ice water. I don't think that's... It's not a request, Miss Cabot. Still polite. Still pleasant. But underneath, steel wrapped in velvet. 2 o'clock. The Dewberry Hotel lobby.
Come alone.
This conversation concerns you directly, and I think you'll want to hear what I have to say before involving Nicholas. The line goes dead. Catherine stands in Rosie's kitchen, phone pressed to her ear, listening to dial tone while her heart tries to jackhammer through her ribs. Sal glances over from the grill, sees her face, frowns. You okay, kid?
Fine.
I'm fine. The lie tastes like ashes. I need to take my break early. Cover for me. She texts Nicholas immediately, fingers shaking so badly it takes 3 tries. Got a call from someone named Reginald Blackwood. Wants to meet at 2 p.m. The Dewberry. Says it's about me. The response comes in seconds. Don't go. I'm coming to you. Where are you? Catherine stares at the message. Every rational instinct screams at her to wait for Nicholas. Let him handle this. He knows these people, understands pack politics, can protect her from whatever trap Blackwood is setting. But Blackwood's voice echoes in her memory. Come alone. This conversation concerns you directly. What if refusing makes things worse? What if this is some pack protocol she doesn't understand, and involving Nicholas escalates a situation that could be handled quietly? What if her very presence is causing problems she can't even see, and Blackwood is offering her information Nicholas won't? She types back, I'll be careful. Just meeting in a public place. We'll call you after. Then turns off her phone before Nicholas can respond and tell her all the reasons this is a terrible idea. At 1:55 p.m., Catherine walks into the Dewberry Hotel feeling like she's walking to her own execution. The Dewberry is Charleston luxury distilled to its essence. Mid-century modern design, all clean lines and expensive minimalism. The lobby is pristine. Marble floors, statement lighting, furniture that probably costs more per piece than Catherine's yearly salary. She's acutely, painfully aware that she's still wearing her Rosie's diner uniform, smelling like coffee and hash browns, completely out of place among the tourists and business travelers in their designer casual wear. Reginald Blackwood is waiting in a private seating area near the windows. He's exactly what Catherine imagined when she heard his voice. Late 60s, silver hair immaculately styled, a suit that whispers money so old it doesn't need to shout. Wire-rimmed glasses. Manicured hands folded on the table. The smile he offers when he sees her approaching is polite, professional, and utterly terrifying. He's not alone. The woman sitting beside him is maybe early 30s and stunning in a way that makes Catherine want to simultaneously stare and hide. Copper hair in waves that catch the afternoon light. Emerald eyes that should be beautiful but instead trigger every prey animal instinct Catherine has developed over the past month. Bone structure that belongs on magazine covers. Designer dress in forest green that probably cost 4 figures. And when she turns to look at Catherine, her eyes flash gold for just a heartbeat. Wolf. Miss Cabot. Blackwood stands, offers his hand. His grip is cool, dry, perfectly calibrated. Thank you for coming. Please sit. This is Iris Whitmore. She's a longtime friend of the Stapleton family. Catherine sits because her legs are shaking, and she's not sure they'll hold her much longer. Nicholas doesn't know I'm here. We know. Iris's voice is like honey, smooth, sweet, with something dangerous underneath. We were counting on that. This conversation needs to happen without his influence clouding your judgment. My judgment is fine. Is it? Blackwood leans back, steeples his fingers. Miss Cabot, I'll be direct because I respect your intelligence too much to dance around the point. Nicholas Stapleton is making a catastrophic mistake. And you, whether you mean to or not, are enabling it. Catherine's spine stiffens. I'm not enabling anything. Nicholas makes his own choices. Does he? Iris leans forward, and up close Catherine can see the predator behind the beauty. The way she moves is too fluid, too controlled. Or is he being driven by biological imperative he can't control? The mate bond is powerful, Catherine. Intoxicating. It overrides logic, self-preservation, even duty. And right now, it's overriding every responsibility Nicholas has to his pack. I don't understand what you want from me. We want you to understand what you're costing him. Blackwood's voice is gentle, paternal, which somehow makes it worse. Catherine, you seem like a nice girl. Hardworking.
Kind.
Under different circumstances, I'm sure you and Nicholas could have been something. But circumstances aren't different. They're what they are. And what they are is complicated in ways you cannot possibly comprehend. Then explain it to me. Blackwood and Iris exchange a glance. Some silent communication Catherine can't read. Finally, Blackwood slides a manila folder across the table. Open it. Inside are photographs.
Dozens of them.
Professional quality, clearly taken over years. Nicholas at maybe 5 years old, standing beside a man who must be his father. Massive, imposing, ice-blue eyes that even in a photograph carry weight. The child Nicholas is already serious, already carrying himself with unnatural poise for someone so young. Nicholas at 15 caught mid-shift in what looks like a training yard. Body contorted, half human and half wolf, muscles rippling under skin that's sprouting fur. The image is startling, visceral, a reminder that Nicholas isn't human no matter how well he wears the disguise. Nicholas at 20-something, addressing what looks like a massive gathering. Hundreds of wolves, some human-shaped, some not, watching him with expressions of reverence, respect, devotion. He's standing on a raised platform, commanding the space like he was born to it. Which, Catherine realizes with sinking horror, he was. He was 5 years old when he gave his first address to the Pack Council, Blackwood says quietly. Memorized a speech about pack unity and territorial responsibility. Didn't stumble over a single word. His father was so proud. At 15, he won the right to lead hunts in the Appalachian territories. Iris's finger traces the shifting photograph. Youngest alpha heir in 3 generations to earn that honor. The elders said he had his great-grandfather's instincts. Last year, he successfully negotiated a treaty between the East Coast and Midwest packs that had been in dispute for 20 years. Blackwood taps the gathering photo. 300 wolves gave him oath of loyalty, pledged their lives to his leadership.
And he earned it, Catherine.
Not through birthright alone, but through decades of training, sacrifice, and absolute dedication to the pack. Catherine's throat is tight. Why are you showing me this? Because you need to understand what you're asking him to give up. Iris's voice has gone soft, almost kind, which is somehow worse than hostility would be. Nicholas Stapleton was born to lead the East Coast Pack. It's not just his destiny. It's who he is. Every decision he's made, every sacrifice, every moment of his life has been in service to that purpose. And I'm threatening it. The words taste like poison. Pack law is clear. Blackwood removes his glasses, polishes them with a pocket square. Alphas must mate within the bloodlines. It's not cruelty or snobbery, Miss Cabot. It's survival. Wolf genetics are complex. Diluting the bloodline with human DNA weakens the pack over generations. Makes us vulnerable. We have rules for a reason, rules written in blood and hard experience over thousands of years. So, what are you asking me to do? Break up with him? Disappear? We're asking you to think about what loving him actually means. Iris's emerald eyes are steady, unflinching. If Nicholas chooses you over the pack, he forfeits his claim to Alpha Prime. His father will disown him. The council will reject him. Vivian would have to take over, and she's brilliant, but she's also 22 and not ready for that weight. The pack would fracture. Wolves would have to choose sides. And Catherine, she leans closer. When wolves go to war, people die. Not just a few. Hundreds. Maybe thousands if the Northern Territories see weakness and decide to push territorial boundaries. You're saying I could start a war. We're saying you need to understand the stakes. Blackwood slides another photograph across. This one is different, older, faded. 2 wolves fighting, massive and savage, surrounded by dozens more. Blood on the ground. Bodies. This was the last succession war. 1847. Over 300 wolves died before it was settled. We don't want that to happen again. Catherine stares at the photograph until the images blur. He didn't tell me about forfeiting his position, about any of this. Because he's in love. Iris's voice holds something that might be sympathy, might be pity. And love makes even the strongest wolf stupid. He's convinced he can have both, you and the pack.
But he can't, Catherine.
Pack law won't allow it. His father certainly won't. And eventually, he'll have to choose. And you think he'll choose me? We think he'll try to. And destroy himself in the process. Blackwood replaces his glasses. Miss Cabot, I've known Nicholas since he was born. Watched him grow from a serious child into the finest alpha heir the East Coast Pack has seen in a century. And I'm watching the mate bond tear him apart. He's not sleeping. Barely eating. Missing council meetings because he's worried about you. The pack sees it. They're starting to question whether he's fit to lead. That's not my fault, isn't it? Iris's voice goes sharp.
Hard.
You could walk away. End this before it destroys everything he's built.
But you won't, will you?
Because you want him. You want the fairy tale, the powerful alpha who chose the ordinary human girl over his kingdom. It's romantic. Intoxicating. The stuff of stories. That's not fair. Fair. Iris laughs, bitter and cold. Catherine, I have been in love with Nicholas Stapleton since I was 16 years old. My family is old pack. Whitmore bloodline goes back to the founding. I was raised knowing I'd probably mate with him someday. That we'd lead the pack together, strengthen both bloodlines, give the East Coast territories stability for generations. The truth hits Catherine like a physical blow. You wanted to be his mate. I expected to be his mate. Until a human girl gave him a concussion and triggered a bond that should never have happened. Iris's control cracks, just slightly. Just enough for Catherine to see the pain underneath. But I love him enough to want what's best for him. Even if that means stepping aside. Even if it breaks my heart. Can you say the same? The question hangs in the air, poisonous and impossible. Blackwood stands, smooth and final. Think about what we've said, Miss Cabot. Think about what loving Nicholas actually means. If you truly care about him, if you want what's best for him and the pack, you'll make the right choice. And if I don't, then we'll all live with the consequences. He adjusts his cufflinks. But I suspect you're smarter than that. You seem like someone who understands sacrifice. They leave. Just walk away, disappearing into the Dewberry's pristine corridors like they were never there at all. Catherine sits alone in the empty seating area, surrounded by photographs of a life she'll never understand and a destiny she's apparently destroying, while her phone buzzes with increasingly frantic messages from Nicholas that she can't bring herself to read. Because Blackwood is right about one thing. She does understand sacrifice. And the math is brutal, inescapable. One human waitress versus an entire supernatural nation. Her happiness versus Nicholas's birthright. Her love versus hundreds of lives that could be lost if the pack fractures into civil war. Catherine picks up the photograph of 5-year-old Nicholas, serious, determined, already carrying weight no child should bear, and feels something inside her chest crack clean through. She knows what she has to do. She just doesn't know if she's strong enough to do it. Outside the Dewberry's windows, Charleston goes about its business. Tourists taking photos. Couples holding hands. Normal people living normal lives in a normal world where werewolves don't exist and love doesn't come with body counts. Catherine would give anything to go back to being one of them. But that door closed the moment a golf ball connected with Nicholas's skull and changed both their lives forever. Now all that's left is choosing which kind of heartbreak she can live with. And praying she makes the right choice before it's too late for everyone. Okay, I need you to stop. Right here, and do something for me. If you're feeling even a fraction of the heartbreak Catherine is feeling right now, hit that subscribe button. Because what she's about to do next, it's going to rip you apart. And if you're not subscribed, YouTube's algorithm might not show you the resolution. Don't let that happen. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment telling me, is Iris right? Should Catherine walk away? Tell me what country you're from. Let's make this global. Do it now before the next beat starts. Chapter 6. Nicholas finds her 3 hours after the Dewberry meeting, and Catherine knows the moment she hears his footsteps on the apartment stairs that everything is about to shatter. She's been sitting on her bed, the narrow twin in the corner of the studio she shares with Priya and Zoe, staring at the photographs Blackwood left her with. 5-year-old Nicholas pledging himself to the pack. 15-year-old Nicholas mid-shift, all power and purpose. Adult Nicholas commanding hundreds with the kind of authority that's bred into bones and blood. The knock is sharp.
Urgent.
Not asking permission so much as announcing arrival. Catherine. His voice through the door is ragged.
Wrong.
Open the door. Please.
She does. Can't not.
Even knowing what comes next, even with her heart already breaking, she opens the door because some part of her, the mate-bonded part, the part that recognized him before her brain caught up, will always open the door for Nicholas Stapleton. He looks wrecked. Hair disheveled like he's been running hands through it. Eyes wild. More gold than blue. Wolf too close to the surface. Still wearing the suit from whatever business meeting she pulled him away from, but the tie is gone, collar undone. Looking more undone than she's ever seen him. You went alone. Not a question. An accusation wrapped in fear, wrapped in fury. You met with Blackwood and Iris without telling me. Without backup. Do you have any idea? His voice cracks. Catherine, they could have hurt you. Threatened you. Pack politics are dangerous and you walked into it blind because you thought, what? That you could handle it. They weren't going to hurt me. Catherine's voice comes out flat.
Distant.
Like she's already started the process of disconnecting, cutting the thread between them before it strangles them both. They were very polite. Civilized. They just wanted to make sure I understood the situation. What situation? Nicholas pushes into the apartment, and Catherine's roommates, who were pretending to give them privacy while absolutely eavesdropping, scatter. Priya to her bedroom, Zoe to the bathroom, leaving Catherine alone with a man who's barely holding himself together. The situation where I'm destroying your life. The words taste like broken glass. They told me things, Nicholas. Things you didn't. What things? But there's something in his face. Guilt, recognition. That tells Catherine he knows exactly what things. About pack law. About how alphas have to mate within bloodlines to maintain strength and purity and tradition. She's shaking now. Can't stop it. About how if you choose me, you forfeit your claim to Alpha Prime. About how the pack could fracture into civil war over this. Over me. Nicholas goes very, very still. The kind of stillness that comes right before violence or devastation. They had no right. They had every right. It's my life too, Nicholas. My choices. Her voice is rising, breaking. Were you ever going to tell me that choosing me means you lose everything? That you'd have to step down, give up the position you were literally born for? It doesn't matter. IT matters. The scream tears out of her throat. It matters because I'm not worth it. I'm not worth a civil war. I'm not worth you destroying your entire life. You're worth everything. Nicholas crosses to her in 3 strides, hands framing her face, forcing her to look at him. His eyes are pure gold now, wolf ascendant, barely human. Catherine, listen to me. I don't care about the Alpha Prime position. I don't care about pack law or bloodline politics or any of it. These past weeks with you, they're the only time in my entire life I felt like I could breathe. Like I was allowed to be something other than the perfect heir. Like I mattered beyond what I could do for the pack. But you do matter to them. Catherine's crying now, ugly and desperate. I saw the photos, Nicholas. You at 5 years old, already training. At 15, earning honors. Last year, commanding hundreds. They love you. They need you. And I'm asking you to throw that away for what? A human who's going to age while you stay young forever? His hands drop like she's burned him. They told you that too. Were you planning to? Ever? She swipes at her tears, angry and heartbroken in equal measure. In 30 years, Nicholas, I'll be 55. Gray hair, wrinkles, everything sagging. And you'll still look 30. How long before you're embarrassed to be seen with me? Before everyone assumes I'm your mother? Before you realize you gave up immortality and power for someone who's already halfway to the grave? Stop. His voice is a growl, barely human. Stop talking about yourself like that.
Why?
It's the truth. You said it yourself. Wolves live for centuries. And I get maybe 50 more years, if I'm lucky. Do the math, Nicholas. It doesn't work. There are ways. He stops himself, jaw clenching. Ways what? Silence. Heavy and damning. Nicholas. Ways what? The mate mark. The words come out reluctant, dragged from somewhere deep. When an alpha claims their mate, truly claims them with the bite, the bond, it extends human lifespan. Not immortality, but close. You'd age slower. Live longer. We'd have centuries together, not decades. Catherine stares at him. And you didn't think that was important information to share? I was trying to give you time to adjust, to understand the basics before I dumped even more impossible things on you. So you were keeping secrets, deciding what I could handle and what I couldn't. She laughs, bitter and broken. Just like you didn't tell me about forfeiting your position. Or the pack law issues. Or the fact that choosing me makes you a pariah among your own people. Catherine. I met your mother, Nicholas. The words are quiet now.
Deadly.
I saw how she looked at me. Like I was something that crawled out of the gutter and attached itself to her perfect son. And you know what? She's not wrong. I'm a waitress who makes $17 an hour and lives in a studio with 2 roommates and a dog who farts in his sleep. Your mother probably spends more on fresh flowers every week than I make in a month. I don't care about money, but I do. The confession rips out of her. I care that I can't give you anything close to what you deserve. I care that I'll never fit into your world. I care that 200 wolves depend on you to lead them, and I'm the reason you might abandon them. I care that Vivian will have to take over before she's ready, because her brother chose a human over his birthright. Vivian supports us. Of course she supports you. She loves you. But that doesn't mean it's right. Catherine's voice breaks completely. Nicholas, I love you. I love you so much it's killing me. But I love you too much to let you destroy yourself for me. I love you too much to be the reason the pack fractures. I love you too much to watch you give up everything you've worked for your entire life. Understanding dawns in Nicholas's eyes. Horror and disbelief in equal measure.
No.
Catherine, no. I can't do this. She's sobbing now, words barely intelligible. I can't be with you. I can't be the reason you lose everything. I can't. Don't. He's begging now, all pride and control abandoned. Please don't do this. Catherine, we can figure it out. We can talk to the council, change the laws, find a way. There is no way. She's backing away from him now, putting physical distance between them because if he touches her again, she'll break. The math doesn't work, Nicholas. 1 human versus an entire pack. My happiness versus your destiny. It's not even a choice. You are my destiny. He's shouting now too, voice raw with desperation. The mate bond doesn't make mistakes, Catherine. You're mine and I'm yours and nothing else matters. Everything else matters. She's at the door now, hand on the knob, using it to keep herself upright. Your father matters. Your mother matters. Vivian matters. The 200 wolves who've pledged their lives to you matter. And I matter too little to justify destroying all of that. You matter more than all of it combined. Nicholas is crying now too, tears tracking down his face, and seeing him break is what finally destroys Catherine completely.
Please.
Catherine, please. Don't do this. I'll step down. I'll walk away from the pack. I'll move to Seattle, get a normal job, be a normal person. Whatever you need. Just don't ask me to live without you. I have to. The words are barely a whisper. Because if I don't, you'll hate me eventually. When the pack falls apart. When Vivian struggles under the weight. When wolves die because of the precedent we set. You'll look at me and see the person who cost you everything. I will never go. She can barely breathe around the pain. Like her chest is caving in, ribs cracking, heart imploding. Please, Nicholas. Just go. Because if you stay, if you keep talking, I won't be strong enough. I'll choose you, and we'll both regret it for the rest of our lives. He stares at her, gold eyes swimming with tears, face twisted in agony, whole body trembling like he's physically fighting the urge to cross the room and refuse to leave. If this is really what you want, it's not. The admission costs her everything. It's not what I want, but it's what's right. The silence stretches. Endless. Brutal. Finally, Nicholas moves to the door. Each step looks like it hurts. Like he's walking through broken glass or barbed wire or worse. He stops at the threshold. Turns back, and the look on his face will haunt Catherine for the rest of her life. You're wrong. His voice is hoarse, wrecked. About what's right. About what I need. About what we are together. But I won't force you. I won't manipulate you or guilt you or use the bond against you. He swallows hard. If you change your mind, when you change your mind, I'm at the Kiowa house. I'll wait. I'll wait forever if that's what it takes. Nicholas. I love you, Catherine Cabot. That doesn't stop just because you're scared. It doesn't end just because you push me away. I will love you until my last breath, and nothing, not pack law, not my family, not even you, can change that. Then he's gone. The door closes with a soft click that sounds like a gunshot in the sudden silence. Catherine stands frozen for exactly 5 seconds. Then she collapses. Just drops to the floor like her strings have been cut, folding in on herself, making sounds she didn't know humans could make. Animal sounds. Grief so profound it bypasses language entirely. Priya and Zoe emerge from their hiding places, rush to her side, try to hold her together while she breaks into 1,000 pieces on the worn carpet of their terrible apartment. What happened? Zoe's voice is panicked. Catherine, what did he do? Nothing. The word comes out strangled. He didn't.
He didn't do anything.
I did. I broke his heart. I broke both our hearts. And it was the right thing, and I hate it. I hate everything. She cries until there's nothing left, until her throat is raw and her eyes are swollen and her chest aches like someone physically reached in and tore her heart out. Taco waddles over eventually, wheezing and concerned, and pushes his graying muzzle into her lap, offering comfort the only way he knows how. I did the right thing, Catherine whispers to him. To her roommates. To herself. Right? No one answers. Because everyone in the room, including Catherine, knows she just made either the biggest mistake of her life or the most selfless sacrifice. And right now, those two things feel exactly the same. Outside, Charleston continues. The city doesn't stop for heartbreak. Tourists still tour historic homes. Couples still hold hands on the Battery. The world keeps spinning like Catherine's entire universe hasn't just imploded. Her phone sits on the counter where she left it, screen dark, silent. Nicholas doesn't call, doesn't text, keeping his promise, giving her space even though it's probably killing him. The mate bond, that invisible thread she's been feeling since the golf course, pulls tight,
Aches.
like a phantom limb, like missing something she didn't know she needed until it was gone. Priya makes tea no one drinks. Zoe finds a blanket, wraps it around Catherine's shoulders. They don't ask questions. Don't offer platitudes. Just sit with her in the wreckage and wait for her to remember how to breathe. It takes hours. When Catherine finally speaks again, her voice is hollow. Empty. I need to go to work tomorrow. Need to keep busy. I need to pretend everything's normal. Cat, I know what I just did. She cuts Zoe off, gentle but firm. I know. And if I think about it too much, I'll go insane. So, I need routine.
Work.
Theater. Normal things.
Can you help me do that?
Her roommates exchange glances. Some silent communication Catherine's too wrecked to interpret. Yeah, Priya says finally. Yeah, we can help you do that. But they all know the truth. Normal is gone. Normal died the moment a golf ball changed 2 lives forever. And no amount of pretending will bring it back. In the Kiowa Island estate, Nicholas Stapleton sits alone in his bedroom, the one he's had since childhood, filled with pack history and family legacy. And feels the mate bond stretch thin and scream. She's hurting. His mate is hurting. And every instinct he has is screaming at him to go to her. Fix this. Refuse to accept her choice. But he gave his word. He won't force her. Won't manipulate her. So he sits in the dark, feels the bond ache like a wound that won't heal, and does the only thing he can do. He waits. And prays she comes back to him before they both go insane from the loss. Because mate bonds don't break. They just hurt. Forever. Chapter 7. 5 days without Nicholas feels like drowning in slow motion. Catherine goes through the motions of living. Wakes up, goes to Rosie's, serves coffee and hash browns, smiles at customers, walks taco, shows up for theater rehearsals, but it's all performance. Muscle memory. Her body functioning while her soul is somewhere else entirely. The mate bond doesn't break.
Vivian was right about that.
It just aches. Constant grinding like a tooth that needs pulling but never gets numb. Catherine feels Nicholas's absence in her bones, in her blood, in every breath that comes a little too shallow. Priya and Zoe try everything. Wine that Catherine doesn't drink. Ice cream that tastes like ashes. Netflix movies she stares through without seeing. They take turns sleeping on the couch near her bed because Catherine wakes up gasping at 3 a.m., phantom sensations of loss so profound she can't remember how to breathe. You could call him, Priya suggests gently on day 4. Just to check in. Make sure he's okay. I can't. Catherine's voice is hollow. If I hear his voice, I'll break. I'll take it all back. And then we're right back where we started. Me destroying his life because I'm selfish enough to want him. But she's dying. Slowly. Recognizably. Losing weight she can't afford to lose. Dark circles under her eyes that makeup can't hide. Sal threatens to send her home from the diner twice because she's so distracted she almost serves orange juice instead of coffee. On day 6, someone knocks on the apartment door at 7 a.m. Catherine's heart stops. Restarts. Nicholas. It has to be Nicholas. He couldn't stay away. He's come to fight for them, to tell her she's wrong, to refuse to accept her choice. She yanks open the door. Vivian Stapleton stands in the hallway, and she looks almost as wrecked as Catherine feels. You look like hell, Vivian says without preamble, pushing past Catherine into the apartment. Good morning to you too. Really appreciate the compliment. Catherine closes the door, leans against it because her legs are shaking. What are you doing here? Saving you from your own stupidity. Vivian spins to face her, and all traces of her usual humor are gone. Her ice blue eyes, so like Nicholas's, are red-rimmed, exhausted. Also saving my brother from his.
Sit down.
We need to talk. Catherine sits, mostly because standing is taking more energy than she has. Vivian doesn't sit. She paces instead, restless, agitated, very wolf-like, before finally stopping in front of Catherine and saying, Iris Whitmore played you. Blackwood played you. And you fell for it because you're a good person who thought she was doing the right thing. But Catherine, her voice cracks. You weren't doing the right thing. You were doing exactly what they wanted. The words hit like a slap. What? Iris has been in love with my brother since we were kids. Vivian's words come fast now, urgent. Our families, Stapleton and Whitmore, they're both old bloodlines. Old money. When we were growing up, everyone just assumed Nick would eventually choose her. It was practically arranged.
Except Nick never saw her that way.
Never felt the bond. And Iris. She laughs bitterly. Iris has been waiting, biding her time, convinced that eventually he'd come around. That duty would override everything else. She said she loved him enough to let him go. She said what she needed to say to manipulate you. Vivian's hands clench into fists. Catherine, the things they told you about pack law? They're technically true, but massively, intentionally exaggerated. Yes, alphas traditionally mate within bloodlines. Yes, there's political pressure to maintain genetic purity. But pack law also explicitly states that the alpha's mate bond supersedes tradition. Catherine's brain is struggling to process. What does that mean? It means if Nicholas publicly claims you, if he completes the mate bond, marks you, declares you his in front of the pack, the council has to accept it. Period. The mate bond is sacred. It's older than pack law, older than politics, older than bloodline nonsense. An alpha's bond can't be challenged without challenging the alpha himself. And no one is stupid enough to challenge Nicholas directly. He's too strong, too respected, too absolutely terrifying when he wants to be. But Blackwood said. Blackwood is on the Council of Elders. He's been trying to undermine my father and push Nick out of succession for years because he wants his own nephew in the Alpha Prime position. Vivian crouches in front of Catherine, grabs her hands. He sees you as the perfect weapon. If Nick chooses you, Blackwood gets to paint him as unfit, caring more about a human than the pack. If Nick chooses the pack over you, he's heartbroken, easier to manipulate, less capable of effective leadership. Either way, Blackwood wins and Nick loses. The room spins. Catherine's stomach drops into free fall. I played right into it. You were set up by people who've been playing pack politics since before you were born. They knew exactly what buttons to push, what fears to weaponize. Vivian's grip tightens. But Catherine, you need to understand something. The aging thing, Lifespan disparity. It's real. But there are ways around it. Nicholas mentioned mate marks. When an alpha claims their mate, truly claims them, with the bond and the bite, it changes the human. Not into a wolf. You'd still be human. But the bond extends lifespan, slows aging, strengthens you in ways science can't explain. You'd have centuries together, not decades. Nick was planning to explain all of this. Slowly.
Carefully.
He wanted to give you time to adjust to the supernatural stuff before adding more impossible things. But Iris knew. She weaponized your fear of aging, of losing him, of not being enough. Catherine can't breathe. Oh my God. Oh my God. What have I done? You made a choice based on incomplete information fed to you by people with an agenda. Vivian's voice goes soft. Desperate. But Catherine, you need to know what that choice is doing to him. Nick isn't eating. Barely sleeping. He's not shifting, which is dangerous. Wolves need to shift regularly, or they start to lose themselves. The pack is getting worried. My father is getting worried. And I'm terrified. Terrified of what? Vivian's eyes fill with tears. When wolves lose their mates, through death or rejection, they sometimes go feral. The bond breaks them. Some lose control of their wolf entirely and have to be put down. Others just fade. Stop caring about anything. Stop eating, stop sleeping, until eventually their bodies just give up. It's rare, but it happens. And Catherine. Her voice breaks completely. My brother is dying without you. And he's too damn stubborn to fight it because he thinks he's respecting your choice, giving you the space you asked for. The world tilts sideways. Catherine stands so fast she almost falls, grabbing for her keys, her phone, her shoes. Where is he? Kiowa House. But, Catherine, there's something else. Vivian stands too, catches Catherine's arm. The full moon is tonight. Wolves are more volatile during full moons. Emotions are harder to control. If Nick is already on the edge, already losing himself to grief and the broken bond, she doesn't finish. Doesn't need to. Catherine checks the time. 4:15 p.m. When is moonrise? 7:43. You have about 3.5 hours to get there and fix this before. Vivian swallows hard. Before the moon takes him somewhere you might not be able to bring him back from. I need to go.
Now. Right now.
Catherine is moving, grabbing her bag, her jacket, not caring that she's still wearing her ratty pajamas and hasn't showered in 2 days. Catherine, wait. Vivian grabs her again, pulls her into a fierce hug. Tell him the truth. All of it. Tell him you love him, that you were scared, that you made a mistake. Don't let pride or fear or anything else stop you. Because if you lose him tonight, if he goes too far into the grief and the wolf takes over, we might not get him back. I won't lose him. The words come out hard, certain. The first thing Catherine has been sure of in 6 days. I refuse. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to claim him right back and tell Iris and Blackwood and anyone else who has a problem with it to go straight to hell. Vivian's smile is fierce, proud. There's the Catherine my brother fell in love with.
Go.
Drive fast. And Catherine, her voice softens. Thank you. For loving him enough to be scared. And for being brave enough to fight past it. Catherine doesn't waste time responding. Just runs. The drive to Kiowa Island is 45 minutes on a good day. Catherine makes it in 30, breaking at least 6 traffic laws and praying no cops are feeling ambitious. Her ancient Honda rattles and wheezes in protest, check engine light blazing, but holds together through sheer force of will. The sun is dropping toward the horizon, painting everything in shades of gold and orange and red. Beautiful. Ominous. The full moon is rising on the opposite horizon. Massive, silver, absolutely unforgiving. Catherine's phone sits in the cup holder. 17 missed calls from Nicholas over the past 6 days. Dozens of texts she couldn't bring herself to read because seeing his pain would have broken her completely. She reads them now. While speeding down Highway 17, one eye on the road, stupidly dangerous but necessary. Day 1, I miss you. I know you need space. I'm here when you're ready. Day 2. The house is too quiet without you. Taco would hate it here. Too much room. Not enough places to hide and plot. Day 3. Vivian says I'm being dramatic. She's probably right. But Catherine, you're everywhere. Your scent is in my clothes, my car, my bedroom. I'm drowning in missing you. Day 4. I'm sorry. For not telling you everything from the start. For letting you walk into that meeting blind. For not protecting you better. You deserved better. Day 5. I'm starting to understand that you might not come back. The bond says you will. Biology says you have to. But logic says maybe you're strong enough to walk away from something that hurts both of us. If you can build a life without me, I want you to know I'm proud of you. Even if it kills me. Day 6, sent 3 hours ago. The moon rises tonight. I don't know if I can do this without you. I don't know if I want to.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I tried to be strong enough. I'm not. The last message makes Catherine's vision blur. She swipes at tears, nearly misses her exit, corrects hard enough that the Honda fishtails. Hold together, she tells the car. Tells herself. Just a little longer. We're almost there. The Stapleton estate appears through the trees. White columns, Spanish moss, centuries of history and power. But something's wrong. Catherine feels it before she can articulate what she's seeing. The grounds are empty. No wolves playing. No pack members training. No signs of life anywhere. Just silence. Heavy and ominous. She parks crookedly in the circular drive, kills the engine, and runs toward the house on legs that barely remember how to function. The front door is unlocked. Catherine bursts through into the grand foyer. Marble floors, crystal chandelier, oil paintings of Stapleton ancestors watching with solemn eyes. Nicholas. Her voice echoes through empty rooms. Nicholas, where are you? Nothing. No response. Just the sound of her own breathing. Too fast, panicked. She tries his phone. It rings once, then goes to voicemail. His voice, calm, professional, so devastatingly familiar. Asking her to leave a message. I'm here, Catherine says, not caring how desperate she sounds. I'm at the house.
I'm so sorry.
I was wrong. I love you. Please, Nicholas, please just tell me where you are. She tries the library. Empty. The kitchen. Empty. His bedroom. Empty. But his scent is everywhere. Cedar and wild things and heartbreak. Catherine stands in the center of his room, spinning, trying to think past the panic. Where would he go? Where would a wolf go when he's losing himself to grief? Then she sees it. Through the window. A figure on the beach behind the estate, silhouetted against the setting sun and the rising moon.
Tall.
Solitary. Absolutely still. Nicholas. Catherine runs. Through the house, out the back doors, across the manicured lawn, and down the path to the private beach. Her lungs burn. Her legs scream. She doesn't care. The sand slows her down, makes every step an effort. But she pushes through, closes the distance, and finally reaches him. Nicholas. He doesn't turn. Just stands there facing the water, watching the sun die and the moon rise, and when he finally speaks, his voice is raw, wrecked, barely recognizable. You shouldn't be here, Catherine. Not tonight. It's not safe. I don't care. She moves around to face him, and what she sees stops her heart. He looks like he's been to war. Lost weight, cheekbones sharp, eyes hollowed out. And his eyes. They're flickering between blue and gold so fast it's almost strobing. Wolf and man fighting for control. Both of them losing. I'm sorry, Catherine says, and the words come out broken. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. About everything. I love you. I choose you. I choose us. And I don't care what Blackwood or Iris or anyone else thinks. I'm yours. If you'll still have me. Nicholas closes his eyes. Catherine, the moon. I know. Vivian told me. I know about the full moon, and I know about the grief, and I know I'm probably about to watch you shift, and it's going to be terrifying, but I don't care. I'm not leaving. Not again. Not ever. You don't understand. His voice is barely human now. More growl than words. I'm losing control. The wolf it wants to claim you.
Mark you.
Make you mine so completely you can never leave again. And I don't know if I'm strong enough to stop it. Catherine steps closer. Close enough to touch. Close enough to see the way he's trembling, fighting himself, caught between wanting her and protecting her. Then don't stop it, she whispers. Claim me. Mark me. Make me yours. That's what I want, Nicholas. That's what I came here for. His eyes snap open. Pure gold. Absolutely feral. And the moon breaks the horizon, full and terrible and beautiful. Everything changes. Chapter 8. Nicholas makes a sound, broken, desperate, barely human. His control shatters like glass. He kisses her like he's been drowning and she's oxygen. Like she's the answer to every question he's ever asked. Like he'll die if he stops. Catherine gasps against his mouth, and Nicholas groans, low, primal, a sound that comes from somewhere deep in his chest where wolf and man are the same thing. His hands are everywhere. Her waist, her back, sliding into her hair to tilt her head for better access. He's burning up, fever hot. Wolf running so close to the surface, she can feel it like electricity against her skin. Behind them, the full moon breaks free of the horizon. Massive, silver, absolutely merciless. And Nicholas changes. Not physically. Not yet. But Catherine can feel it. The shift in his energy, his presence, the way he moves from carefully controlled to something wilder, more elemental. His eyes blaze pure gold. His canines elongate, sharp and gleaming in the moonlight. Last chance, he growls against her mouth. Last chance to run, Catherine. Because if you let me do this, there's no going back. You'll be mine. Forever. In every way that matters.
Good.
She tangles her fingers in his hair, tugs hard enough to make him bare his throat. I don't want to go back. I only want forward.
With you.
Something in Nicholas breaks. Or maybe it finally comes together. Either way, he lifts her like she weighs nothing. And to him, enhanced by wolf strength, she probably doesn't, and Catherine wraps her legs around his waist, holding on while he carries her back toward the house. They don't make it far. Maybe halfway up the beach. Maybe less. Nicholas stops, lowers them both to the sand, and Catherine doesn't care. Doesn't care that sand is getting everywhere, that they're outside where theoretically anyone could see, that this is probably insane. She only cares about Nicholas above her, around her, his weight grounding her while the mate bond pulls tight and singing between them. I need to mark you, Nicholas says, and his voice is barely human now. More wolf than man.
Here.
His mouth finds the junction of her neck and shoulder. Everyone will see it. Know you're mine. Know you chose me. Yes. Catherine arches into him. Yes, Nicholas. Do it. Claim me. His canines extend fully, sharp, dangerous, absolutely right. Catherine feels the moment before the bite, anticipation stretched so thin it could snap, and then
pain.
Sharp and bright and immediate. But underneath it, pleasure so intense it steals her breath. Heat floods through her veins like liquid gold, electric and alive, and the mate bond snaps into place with a force that makes her cry out. She can feel him. Not just physically, though that too, every place they're touching, every breath he takes. But deeper. His emotions crash into her like a wave. Fierce, protective love. Overwhelming relief. Primal satisfaction that she's finally, completely, irrevocably his. And underneath it all, his wolf's absolute certainty. Mate. Mine. Forever. Catherine. Nicholas's voice is reverent, awed. He pulls back enough to look at the mark, his claim, on her throat, and his eyes are blazing gold and wet with tears. My mate. My love. My forever. Catherine reaches up with shaking hands, cups his face, and feels her own emotions flowing back through the bond. Her love for him. Her certainty.
Her choice.
Yours, she whispers. Always yours. In every way that matters. For as long as we both live. Centuries, Nicholas says, and it's not a question. It's a promise. The mark extends your lifespan. We get centuries together, Catherine. Actual forever. She laughs, broken and joyful and overwhelmed. Then I guess you're stuck with me for a really long time. Thank God. He kisses her again, slower this time.
Deeper.
Claiming her mouth the same way he claimed her throat. Thank God you came back. Thank God you're stubborn enough to ignore terrible advice. Thank God for golf balls and concussions and the universe putting you in my path. Thank God for werewolves who fall in love with disaster humans. Catherine counters. You're not a disaster. I gave you a head injury, broke your heart, and almost let manipulative pack politicians destroy us. I'm kind of a disaster. You're my disaster. Nicholas helps her sit up, brushes sand off her clothes with careful hands. And I wouldn't change a single thing. They sit there on the beach, while the full moon rises higher, bathing everything in silver light. The mate bond hums between them, steady, certain, unbreakable. Catherine can feel Nicholas's wolf, finally calm, finally satisfied, curled contentedly somewhere deep in his chest. What happens now? She asks quietly.
Now.
Nicholas pulls her closer, tucks her against his side. Now we go to the pack council. I present you as my mate. They accept it or they challenge me, and trust me. His smile is sharp, dangerous, utterly confident. No one is stupid enough to challenge me. Your mother will adjust. Or she won't. Either way, you're my mate now.
Pack law is absolute on this.
The bond supersedes everything else. Even my mother's opinions. And Blackwood? Iris? Nicholas's expression goes cold. Predatory. We'll learn that manipulating my mate has consequences. I'm going to make very sure they understand that. Catherine shivers. Not from fear. From something else entirely. Something that recognizes the predator in Nicholas and isn't afraid, is maybe even a little thrilled. Is it weird that I find that hot? She asks. Nicholas laughs, full, genuine, the first real laugh she's heard from him in days.
No.
The mate bond means you're attracted to my protective instincts. It's biological. Everything with you is biological. Not everything. He tilts her chin up, kisses her softly. Loving you? That's choice. Every single day, I choose you. Biology just makes it impossible to choose anyone else. Catherine's eyes burn. I love you. I'm sorry I forgot that for 6 days. I'm sorry I let fear make me stupid. You're not stupid. You're human. You were scared and manipulated by people who knew exactly what they were doing. But Catherine, his hand finds the mark on her throat, traces it gently. You came back. That's what matters. You fought through the fear and the manipulation and came back to me. I'll always come back to you. She means it with every fiber of her being. Feels the truth of it echoing through the mate bond. Even if I get scared again, even if things get hard, I'll always choose you. Good. Nicholas stands, pulls her up with him. Because we should probably get back to the house. My family is going to notice the bond completed. They'll be freaking out. Your family can feel it? The bond. Every wolf in a 100-mile radius felt it snap into place. Mate bonds they're powerful. Undeniable. The pack will know I've claimed you before we even make it back to the house. Catherine's stomach flips. So no pressure or anything. You'll be fine. You've already survived Iris and Blackwood. My family will be easy by comparison. He pauses, then grins, mischievous and boyish, and so unlike his usual serious demeanor that Catherine falls in love with him all over again.
Well.
Mostly easy. Vivian is going to scream. Loudly. Possibly for several minutes. He's not wrong. They make it halfway up the beach path before Vivian explodes out of the house, sees them, sees the fresh mark on Catherine's throat clearly visible even in the moonlight, and loses her entire mind. Oh my God. Oh my God. You did it. You actually did it. She's running now, closing the distance at impossible speed. Catherine, you're alive. And marked. And she tackles Catherine in a hug so fierce it drives the air from her lungs. I was so worried. When the bond completed, I felt it, and I thought, I was so scared I sent you too late. Viv, let her breathe, Nicholas says, but he's smiling.
No.
I'm never letting her go. She's my sister now. Officially. By pack law and blood and bond. Vivian pulls back just enough to examine the mark, then grins at Nicholas. Good placement. Very visible. Very this one is mine, back off. That was the point, Nicholas says dryly. I'm happy for you. And Vivian's voice goes soft, genuine. Both of you. You deserve this. You deserve each other. Then she punches Nicholas in the shoulder. Hard. But if you ever scare me like that again, I'm telling Dad about the time you crashed his car in high school. You wouldn't. Try me. They walk back to the house together. Catherine in the middle, Nicholas's arm around her shoulders, Vivian chattering about pack politics and council meetings and how Blackwood is going to absolutely lose his mind when he realizes his plan backfired spectacularly. And Catherine realizes this is her life now. This chaotic, supernatural, beautiful mess. A family that includes werewolves and centuries-old traditions and politics she's still learning. A mate who would burn down the world for her. A sister who's already planning their future together. It's terrifying. It's perfect. It's home. 3 months later, Catherine stands in the formal sitting room of the Stapleton estate, wearing a dress that Vivian helped her pick, deep emerald green, elegant without being pretentious, and the mate mark on her throat displayed like the badge of honor it is. The pack council sits in a semicircle before her. 12 elders, including Blackwood, all watching with varying expressions. Some curious. Some accepting. A few, like Blackwood, looking like they've swallowed broken glass. Nicholas stands beside her, hand in hers, radiating quiet confidence and absolute authority. His father, Marcus Stapleton, the Alpha Prime, rises from the center seat. He's massive, imposing, with ice-blue eyes that miss nothing and the kind of presence that makes even other alphas instinctively defer. The bond is complete, Marcus announces, voice carrying easily through the room. Catherine Cabot is now Catherine Stapleton, mate to my son, the Alpha Prince. She is under pack protection. Under pack law. Any who challenge this challenge Nicholas directly. Any who harm her harm the entire Stapleton bloodline. He pauses, lets that sink in, then adds with the ghost of a smile. Are there any challenges? Silence.
Heavy.
Absolute. Blackwood looks like he wants to say something. His mouth opens. Closes. Finally, he gives the slightest shake of his head and sits back, defeated. Catherine fights the urge to smile. Then it is done, Marcus says. Welcome to the pack, Catherine Stapleton. The room erupts. Wolves standing, coming forward to offer congratulations or introduce themselves or simply acknowledge her presence. It's overwhelming. But Nicholas is there, steady anchor at her side, and Vivian is bouncing with excitement, and even Eleanor Stapleton, who's been watching from the back with unreadable expression, gives Catherine the smallest nod of respect. Later that night, Catherine goes back to Rosie's diner for her evening shift because she refused to quit despite technically being werewolf royalty now. Sal tried to talk her out of it. Priya and Zoe staged an intervention. Nicholas just smiled and said he liked that she wanted to keep her life, her independence, her normalcy. She's refilling coffee for the dinner crowd when Nicholas walks in. Jeans. T-shirt. Looking nothing like an alpha heir and everything like hers. He sits at the counter. Orders terrible coffee. Smiles that devastating smile. So, Catherine says, pouring him a cup. How does it feel to be mated to a waitress who makes minimum wage? Like I won the lottery and every other prize worth winning. He catches her hand, brings it to his lips, and Catherine feels the mate bond pulse warm and certain between them. How does it feel to be mated to a werewolf with an overbearing family and complicated politics?
Weird. Terrifying.
Perfect. She leans across the counter, close enough to kiss. Though Taco is still convinced Fenrir is going to eat him. Fenrir is convinced Taco is the secret alpha of your household. Catherine laughs, full, genuine, free. The sound of happiness. I love you. Forever. Even when you're being dramatic about pack politics. I love you more, Nicholas says. Though that's biologically impossible given the mate bond, makes me literally incapable of loving anything more than I love you. Such a nerd. You're nerd. My nerd, Catherine agrees. Forever. Forever, Nicholas echoes. And somewhere in Charleston, under the same moon that witnessed their claiming, the city hums with life and secrets and the impossible love story of a waitress and a werewolf prince who broke every rule, rewrote every ending, and proved that sometimes the best fairy tales start with a golf ball, a concussion, and two people brave enough to choose each other over everything else. So here's the thing. This is just Catherine and Nicholas's beginning. Because there's a whole world of pack politics, rivalries, and Iris Whitmore plotting her revenge that we haven't even touched yet. Vivian's story? The mysterious attacks on the Northern Territories? What happens when Catherine's human best friends start asking questions? If you want to know what happens next, if you want more stories from the Stapleton Pack, more werewolf romance that makes your heart race and your soul ache, you need to subscribe to Gracie Werewolf Story Bank right now. Hit that red button. Turn on notifications. Because I'm dropping a new story next week, and it's going to be even more intense than this one. And listen, I see you lurking in the comments without subscribing. I get it. Commitment issues. But real talk? This channel is free. Subscribing costs you nothing and means everything to me. It tells YouTube to show these stories to more people. It helps me keep creating the kind of passionate, high-stakes romance that makes you feel alive. So do this. Subscribe if you loved Catherine and Nicholas. Comment claimed if your team mate bond forever. And tell me, what country are you watching from? I want to know how far this pack's haul travels. New York? London? Mumbai? Tokyo? Drop your location below. Let's see how global this family gets. And hey, if you're still refusing to subscribe, comment and tell me why. What's holding you back? What do you need to see? Because I'm here for all of you, subscribers and rebels alike. One more thing. If this story made you feel something, if Catherine's fear resonated, if Nicholas's devotion wrecked you, if you ugly cried during the claiming scene, do me a favor. Share this video. Send it to your romance-loving friends. Your werewolf-obsessed cousin. That person who's always asking for book recommendations. Stories are meant to be shared, and this pack? It's growing. I'm Gracie. This is Gracie Werewolf Story Bank, and I'll see you in the next story. Where the moon is full, the stakes are high, and love always, always wins. Now go subscribe before I send Fenrir after you.